talking vision board and how to make your dreams turn into goals to actually get them done, because we not playing 2026. If you slept on yourself in 2025, this is the year to lock in. And I don't just mean that in a cutesy little like, yeah, you might, accomplish your dreams. You have to be so delusional. You have to be so locked in to tell yourself there is no other way. During this time right now where everybody's posting their vision boards and, a lot of people feel a type of way like, why can't that be me? That could be you. You're so worried about everybody else and their achievements that you don't know how to be happy for yourself. And to make that happen, you have to be able to be crazy enough to believe that you can be that person. It takes confidence. It takes faith. I always say, for me personally, I cannot say that my vision board is what makes my year. It is by the grace of God that every single goal that I have in line is given to me. That's how we're going to start this. I realized very early on that no one was going to advocate for my dreams as much as I was going to. That meant that I prioritize my dreams and my well-being. So that meant I had to cut people off, because you're not about to clip my wings for dreaming too big when you don't even dream for yourself. Period. It got to a point in my life where I was so frustrated with people doubting me. Like, I knew deep down what I was meant for, and it was for more. It was never to just be getting by, just trying. There was no trying, there was only doing. And the reason why I know this little vision board, to you guys, this little vision board is probably just a little iPad wallpaper. To me, I had to look at this every day and remind myself, this is what I set for myself. And I posted up on my IG and TikTok everything that I have accomplished, which are big. Another thing is being able to celebrate yourself. For a really long time, I felt like I could not celebrate myself because I was like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is just another checklist off of my book. You have to celebrate yourself like nobody is watching. A lot of us are seeking so much validation from other people. Seek validation from yourself. Challenge yourself. It's you versus you. It's not you versus the next content creator, you versus the next coworker. It's you versus you, period. And the minute you start realizing, I need to do more for myself, I need to want more for myself, that's probably why you keep attracting the same crusty, dusty man. You don't know how to higher your expectations for yourself and higher your standards. Before you go looking for validation in a man, look for validation in yourself and with God. And you have to tell yourself, I am so sick of myself and not believing in myself that I need to do it. This is do or die. A lot of you guys are so mediocre when it comes to your goals, and this is some soft love. Like I'm being sweet right now. But the reality is you're being too lenient with yourself. You're being too lenient with your goals. That's why they keep being dreams. That's why you're not fulfilled every single year. That's why you're staying in the same circumstances, because you haven't told yourself this is do or die. There is no other way than this. If I didn't have the credentials to be talking about this, 100%. My accomplishments, I can go on and on about them. I went from being 200% the poverty line to being a six-figure woman in the span of 1 year. I was living 200% below the poverty line. And I vividly remember when I first launched my business and I made my first 6 figures, I had gotten a check from the year previous because of my income, how bad it was. I don't even know how I was living off that income by the grace of God. And thank God for the food pantries and the state that was very supportive towards low income. All this to say, I could have stayed in that mentality. I could have told myself, this is my reality. This is where I got to stay. This is how I grew up. This is how my life is going to become. And it's more than finances. I just want to preface that. It is way more than finances. This is not strictly and solely about finances. A lot of people think it's about the money. There's a saying, money buys happiness. Absolutely not. Money does not buy happiness, but more resources opens up more doors for people. And I've recognized that within education, within business, within entrepreneurship. People love to gatekeep. People are not going to want to help you, especially people your age. People in their 20s are going to gatekeep. That's why I fully believe in mentors, adults that believe in your vision, adults that are more grown than you. You should never be the smartest person in the room ever. I had to learn that very early on because I was very prideful. I was like, I can do it. I was very independent. very self-sufficient. And I said, I do not need anyone. I know how to put my pride aside. And then one day, I packed my bags and I came out to California. And I told myself I'm not going to have the same mindset. I want to meet people that are making more money than me, that are more smarter, that have bigger platforms. I want to learn. And when you go into these relationships, you also can't be a leech. You can't just be there to grab information. This has to be mutual give and take. There's something that you have to be good at. When I went into these relationships, I knew that I could not just come up in here talking about, can you give me all your wisdom? Can you give me all your guidance? People don't like that. People don't like leeches. What people do like is when you're willing to give even when you have nothing, and people can recognize that. And at this time, when I was trying to find my mentors, when I was trying to surround myself with people that really knew what they were talking about when it came to finances, I told myself, what am I good at? And one of the things that I was really good at was personal training. I had gotten my certification and I told myself, I will train for free. I just want lessons on financial literacy. I want to know what I should be doing in order to become who I need to be. And that is how I made a lot of my connections. I trained them for free, but a lot of them were so interested in my life and everything that I had done up until that point. I didn't have investors. I didn't have people that believed in me. And it wasn't until I was able to prove myself. People love confident people. The minute that you tell yourself, I can't do something, or you're insecure, people can read it a mile away. You cannot live in insecurity. You will attract insecure people. If you're not confident in yourself, no one else is going to be confident in you. And so once I was delusional enough and I was able to show, here's the proof in the pudding. People were like, this girl has something. And I have been told that. And I used to be really shy and I used to be like, I don't really want to, But people do not like fake humility. Do not be fake humble. Don't be like, no, please. Like, no, be strong in who you are. So if somebody tells me, hey, you've done a lot for your age. Yes, I have. Thank you so much. I know it deep down in my heart. I've worked hard to be here. There's two types of people in this world. There's people that are entitled, and there's people that worked really hard to be where they are. You can be either or. You can be entitled to information. You can be entitled to relationships. You can be entitled to things in business, whatever it is, right? Or you can say, I worked hard to be here and I'm going to keep working no matter how much I make it. And honestly, I could stop where I'm at now and I could say, well, I hit my 6 figures. I ran a business. I was able to build something that I never thought was possible because I knew I was made for more. Always, God put that vision in my heart since I was a little girl. But I always told myself, like, what does that look like? And the biggest flex is being able to take care of your family, being able, your family being able to ask for something or see your accomplishments. Just recently, my dad came to visit me. It was the cutest little get together, and seeing his face, he's not the type of person to show emotion, but seeing his face when he walked into my home and just seeing him take it all in for me, I knew deep down he was like, I'm proud of you. And that's another thing. A lot of us, maybe our parents weren't very emotional. And for a lot of overachieving adults, a lot of us didn't have parents that were always patting you on the back, and that's why it's so hard to celebrate yourself. And even while I was making my vision board, I told myself, I will celebrate myself. I'm going to take myself out. I told my boyfriend, these are things that I'm really proud of and I want to communicate that with you. Finding a partner that cheers you on. Do not be with a man that is a hater, because he will bring you down with him to his level, and you do not want that. You need a man that is going to feel challenged. If you put pressure on a man and he runs, that's not your man. If you put pressure on a man and he cracks every time and he gets frustrated and angry, that is not your man. If you're looking to be a successful woman in whatever it is, you need a partner who's going to say, wow, this is challenging, but I'm willing to work even harder. I see you. I hear you. Let's get to the goal. Thank me later, because I wish I knew this in my early 20s so I would not waste my time. Your environment plays a huge role, 100%. Where you live, who you choose to surround yourself with, your partner, where you work. And sometimes it's going to take sacrifice, risk, money loss, a lot of sacrifice. You're probably going to go through emotions. A lot of people don't talk about this. I think they only point the highlights. Look at these new resources I have. Look at the house, look at the car, look at the money. But a lot of people don't talk about the initial sacrifice and what it takes. And you have to ask yourself, am I willing to lose it all to gain something? Now, this does not mean you're going to sell your soul for the world, because there were many, many opportunities in my life that could have given me a lot of financial gain. And I realized it's not worth losing my soul over and my dignity. And as a woman, yes, we do have more opportunity. The stats show that women make more money than men. Sorry, men. If you are a very high achieving woman, either you're gonna attract or repel men. A lot of men, when they realize you can do it all yourself, they're gonna be like, I'm good, that's a lot, right? And that goes back to pressure. Are you going to grow with me? Are you willing? I'm willing to stick this out if you're willing to grow and keep growing. That is the most important thing. That is all that should really matter within your relationship. Within the life that I live now, I've realized that there are some things that I hold more value for than when I did when I first started to enter my dream life. And I thought that there were things that were going to matter more to me, and they didn't. What mattered more to me was family time, having more time for family, resting. For the majority of my life, I was in survival mode. I literally couldn't stop. I would be on go. That is also going to repel you from your dream life. More work does not equate to more money. The minute you have to start forcing things, that's why they're not coming to you. The minute that you tell yourself, I deserve this life, I deserve rest, there is something beautiful about being able to rest. That is the wealthiest thing that I own, my rest. My peace, my rest, all of it. But the minute you start telling yourself, I need to hustle, I need to grind, that is when I struggled the most. Because forced things are not going to come that easily to you. Your relationship with money, your relationship with God, your relationship with people, if you start forcing things. I've met God in the lowest points of my life when I'm not forcing a prayer, forcing a worship song, forcing reading scripture. It's when I've told myself I'm going to flow through the highs and lows of my faith. I'm going to remain firm, but I'm not going to force this moment. I'm going to let God do what he needs to do. And sometimes that requires me to take a step back and to not speak. And that is one of the hardest things, to be completely honest with you guys, because I am a yapper. I'm like, God, what about this? What about that? And God's like, I'm gonna need you to be still. That has been the two words for this year, be still. Rest equates to wealth. Whenever you see wealthy people, they are well rested. When have you ever seen someone with heavy eye bags? I mean, except if they're in finance, makes a lot of sense. But when you see people that are wealthy, always, on grind and never stopping. There's a difference between working hard, taking calls, and then there's a difference between never stopping working. So I've had to tell myself that rest is wealth. If I'm going to be successful, that is going to require a well-rested mind. You make the best decisions when you're rested. It's been proven, science has proven this. The minute that you are not well rested, you are not able to make decisions that are probably the best. There came a point in my life where I said, I'm so tired of being tired. Maybe today I'm not going to film. There was a time where I was filming 7 days a week. And while it seemed like a great idea and it was working and my things were, my online community was growing, I was so burnt out creatively. I was burnt out with my purpose. I felt like I didn't want to keep going within my career. That's the worst way to feel. And so then I had to recognize I have to create space for my creativity. I have to create space for who I'm becoming in this season. And that required me to take a step back and rest. And so in the moments where you're like, feeling burnt out or stressed, ask yourself, when's the last time I rested? Rested does not mean sitting on your couch and scrolling. I mean real rest. So I have a rule now, 30 minutes when I wake up, I enter into meditation and prayer. 30 minutes before bed, meditation and prayer, be still. And so this is where I go into practical steps to actually get the life that you want and you deserve. And there is no, if someone's trying to sell you a course or sell you this dream, they're lying. There is no, this is how you're going to get this, right? A lot of people are promising you a dream life. That doesn't mean that you're going to get it. What I can promise you is this. A more better, well-rested version of yourself, a calmer nervous system, and a clearer mind in order to be where you need to be at. And so that begins with rest. I want you to try that. 30 minutes in the morning of just meditation, prayer, silence, sitting with yourself. 30 minutes before bed, meditation, silence, sitting with yourself, being aware. That's another thing. A lot of people lack self-awareness. That's why they really struggle. They're not aware of themselves. They walk around and they can only meet you as far as they've met themselves, which is really nothing. In adulthood, we have to realize that we are full-grown adults. We make decisions every single day. So you have to ask yourself, who do I want to be? Do I want to be in the same place? Do I want to be complacent? Do I want to be mediocre? Do I want to be depressed for another year? Do I want to be anxious for another year? And that's a hard thing to ask ourselves and come to terms with myself in my childhood and why I made certain decisions, and finding the strength and the courage to say no and dream bigger than what people told me I could do. My vision boards brought me to California in a beautiful home, surrounded by loved ones, with a supportive partner. I've been able to bless my family at a level that I never knew I could. And I realized I don't want to stop. I want to keep going. When I have a family, I'm not going to stop there, and I'm not going to give up. I know motherhood is really hard, and that's another chapter I haven't entered, so I can't speak on it. But if you're a mom, if you're in a caretaker role, don't give up on your dreams. I've talked to so many moms that are like, I wish. And I'm like, why wish? Why not do? Why can't we do this? Like, let's do it. And so that's kind of my words for you guys. I literally just want you guys to start that. 30 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes at night, honoring your body, being present with yourself. And I just want you to see how far you can get with that, because sometimes all it takes is you believing in you. And I just want to say I love you guys so much. Keep pushing forward. Adelante con fe. I made this small video because I know vision boards and all these videos can feel overwhelming, but there is something beautiful about being inspired by other people's accomplishments. Be happy for other people, because God sees everything. And so it's even biblical. You need to be happy for people. The minute that you're in misery and envy, that's not a way to live. Find peace within knowing that God's timing is better than your own. Celebrate other people, and remember, what you put in is what you get out. So pour into yourself every single day.